Welcome, everybody, to the Bench Sheet Podcast. We are officially in season number 2, so we wanted to welcome you. I'm George Niang. This is my co-host, Kevin Spees.
Hey, guys.
And we are back at the Black Valve Coliseum.
We're here.
Black Valve Coliseum. We're here.
We're here. Season 2, baby. We made it through season 1.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a great experience. It was our first time getting together, doing a podcast. We had a bunch of cool guests, whether if it was, teammates or other friends that we had.
Beer drinkers.
In the league. Yes, beer drinkers. We had, one of those, a childhood friend that,
Who was the best beer drinker, I think, on the internet.
It was extremely impressive. But we're excited for season 2. We're going to have as many guests as we can on here. We're obviously going to shoot the shit about sports and any other funny things that, go on in our life.
So like, subscribe, share, comment, all of those things so we can keep the show going. Season 3.
Yeah, because we're here. That's all Kevin does, a.k.a. the grill guy. No, but what do we have for topics today? What are we talking about?
Okay, well, first, George, it is the start of NBA season. NBA season kicked off on Tuesday, as you know, which we'll get to what happened on Tuesday night. But your season kicked off last night.
Yeah.
I got NBA League Pass. I spent the $100.
There we go.
So I'm going to tune into every Cavaliers game, unless they're playing at the same time as the Knicks, which is going to be a tough decision.
Yeah, speaking of your Knicks.
Yeah, should we just get right into what happened that night?
Yeah,
because that was a little rough. Okay, I want to give you my take first. Then I'm going to take because I don't want your take to influence mine, and I'll give you mine.
Well, Kevin, it was the first fucking game of the season, and it got ugly fast.
Yes. I will say offensively, I thought the Knicks looked good. Genuinely, I do. Especially the first unit. Like, I wasn't sure how the offense was going to look with Cat. Like, it's going to be so different than what it was a year ago because you have a skilled big man that can do so many things. And Isaiah Hartenstein could do some offensive things, but not even close to what Cat can do.
Isaiah Hartenstein, offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
And is rolling to the rim.
And has a nice little floater, and he can pass from the nail.
And get you extra possessions.
By the way,
and Cat is really good at shooting threes, but when the ball goes up, where is he at? The 3-point line. Yeah,
but he also can do things on the offensive end that are like that I've never seen the Knicks have a big that could do. So they looked more like Nova last night than they did with the Nova boys last year. Like it was like as far as offense goes.
I'm just gonna put this out there. They are gonna really, really miss Dante DiVincenzo. I'm just saying.
I cannot. First off, our boy Deuce, shout to Deuce McBride.
He has gotten a lot.
He went off. He is shooting the ball very, very well and really saved us in the second unit. But I could not agree with you more. The grittiness and just the ability to get a bucket, we are really gonna miss, I think. And so that's why I think the Knicks might not be done. They might have to make a move here for another outside shot.
Really, since Kevin is so dialed in at being a internet GM, who would you bring on? Who would be a good fit?
Well, to be honest, it seems like they have to sign someone. So it has to be because there's 2 more spots that they have to fill in the next 2
you're
weeks.
Not getting a free agent that's going to help you.
That's going to be big, I know. So who would I trade for? I would trade for this. There is a really good shooter out in Cleveland.
Moving on. Anyway, so yesterday, guys, the Cleveland Cavaliers played against the Toronto Raptors. We won.
Okay, we did.
And you said that you tuned in.
I watched the whole entire game until
honestly,
the
fourth quarter got going and Toronto went up on us. I think it was 16-11. They were doing all this pressure, and I was like, this might be one of those games where a team that is not projected to be very good comes in, plays hard, and just it's the home opener, and they got nothing to lose. And luckily, I think we've had a lot of great experience on our team and in training camp and in preseason games. I know we went 0-4, but our coach has done a great job of kind of running us through reps on what we need to look for and how other teams are going to guard us. And we were able to really, hone on to our skill and get through that pressure. And Evan Mobley was tremendous last night, if I have to say so myself.
He was. Do you think there was a turning point at some point in that it was really like the end of the first quarter where you felt things change. Sometimes it's like a play or like something that gets, the team fired up. Can you point to like a moment where that kind of happened, or was it just kind of like a gradual?
I think when the other team throws their first punch and you're not completely like getting dragged around and it's not like 10, 12, 15 points and you can kind of slowly get the possessions, get layups. Because the things that stop runs for the other team are open threes, layups, and free throws, or dunks and layups, whichever one you're going to call it.
Paint points, which you guys had a lot
exactly.
of.
We were getting a bunch of those, and we were making open threes, which really helps because you hate to get in a shooting slump the first game of the year, especially on the road. Because Toronto, I'll give you guys a lot of credit. They have a great fan base up there.
Yeah, they were fired up. It seemed like watching on TV that was a loud gym, and they were like pumped to be back. And dude, you're right. They came out aggressive. But it did seem a little bit like you guys stuck to your guns. It was like you were making layups or 3-point shots. It was like you weren't settling for anything in between, which is like today's NBA, but sometimes teams do that, right?
Yeah.
And then like second quarter, when Darius got into foul trouble, Donovan just came out and just like kind of dominated.
We were making it happen. It was really good to see because it was a collective, group effort. And then, they're missing a bunch of guys. And even, I love my guy, Bruce Brown.
Was he talking a little shit to
you?
He
was talking a little shit. I was on the free throw line. I looked back. He was like, hey, your shorts are too tight. And I'm like, screw you, man. And then the rookie next to him tried to like, and I was like, shut the fuck up. You haven't done anything in this league. I'm not trying to hear shit you're saying. So that was that. I'm trying to be a better person and watch my mouth and attitude, but that one, it got the best of me. When you're in the other country, what happens in another country stays in another country, right, Kev?
I think so. I think there was 2 times where you got a little testy. It was that time, and then there was like a bad foul call.
Oh, the Boucher, where it was a defensive foul or offensive foul or whatever.
Yeah, what was that? What did
I pushed him on the rebound. He could have been called for flopping. Chris Boucher, I know what you've been up to, dude. You were flopping.
It sounds like it looked like you gave the ref an earful too. Were you respectful or were you?
You know what? I thought that I was, but then again, when you're in game mode, sometimes things get a little confused and blurry.
What's not blurry is the fact that you started off hot, and in my opinion, you really did shoot 100% yesterday from the field, because the one miss you had at the end of the shot clock, you were jacking it up, and I think the guy
Dick blocked me.
Did he? Dick
Grady Dick, yeah.
Dick got a hand on it?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he got a hand on it. So how does that feel to start off hot?
Oh, I think it's, it's awesome. You definitely want to start off hot than cold. That's for sure. Like, look at the Celtics. You start off hot, you almost break the NBA record, and then you go cold. So it always balances itself out. But yeah, back to your Knicks and the Celtics. You talk about 29 made threes is extremely impressive. They went 0 for 12 in their last attempts and still shot over 40%. That's
insane.
Nuts. And then think about the rest of the league. Like, everybody watches the first game. That was the first game.
Like the whole.
And then you see the team that won it is dominating already. You're like, damn. Like, guys are going to have their hands full. This is going to be an exciting year of fucking NBA basketball because there was some movement from the West to the East. Paul George comes to Philly. Dame Lillard looks really good, with the Bucks, playing against Philly last night. So it is going to be a healthy dosage in each conference of, star-powered teams making it happen.
What are the conversations like the next day when you guys arrive to the arena? Like, because obviously you say everybody's watching the NBA game. So
hey, yo, motherfucker, you seen that motherfucker last night? Like, really, God damn, that motherfucker look nice. Like,
do you guys talk about it?
Yeah, that's really how it's going on. Everybody shares their opinions, and there's always someone that has like a crazy, outlandish opinion.
And you're like, shut the fuck.
Yeah, you're like, no fucking way. And then, some people make predictions before the year starts, like, oh, that dude is going to suck. And then he has like 20 points on night one. You're like, all right, I might have been wrong. My bad, sir, I wasn't familiar with your game.
Speaking of early on predictions, I made a prediction and a bet. I don't think I've told you this yet. With another friend who's a big basketball. I played Division III basketball. Anyway,
nobody cares. Just get to the point.
I made a bet with him that I thought Luca Garza would be a starter in the NBA at some point. And you have seen this offseason.
Wow, he looked great.
He has been putting up numbers. And so I made a bet, another side bet, $25 bet, that he would get more than 4 minutes in the opener, because I figured, I know they got Julius Randle, but it's like they also lost Cat. So I'm like, they got to find a way to. He just dropped 30 against starters in the last preseason game, and they gave him a DNP. So I still have faith that Luca Garza is going to be a impact player in the NBA. The guy can score the shit out of the ball.
Absolutely, and I think, and this is obviously we joke around and talk shit like ha he he ha ha, but in a serious manner. Luca Garza is an NBA player. Like, there's no doubt about that, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about opportunity. This league is all about opportunity, whether it's you get it in your first year, or you get it in your first 2 years, or you don't get it till your fourth or fifth year where you're actually playing rotational minutes. And I think the best thing that Luca Garza does is he's always prepared, right? Young guys, if you're watching this guy, play, not play, in the rotation, not in the rotation. That guy is energized, has energy on the bench, and then when he comes in, he's making an impact. And all you can do is, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, is you want to hit a single every time you're out there, right? My teammates trust me, my coaches trust me. I'm making an impact on winning, and I'm able to do things that that I've shown before, and that's for him making threes, rebound, and scoring the ball, and being able to be reliable on the defensive end. And he does that every single time he gets an opportunity, and eventually that's going to pay off, whether that's in Minnesota or somewhere else. He's proven that he's an NBA player by getting spot minutes over the last 2-3 years. He started off in Detroit and then ended up in Minnesota. He's a heck of a player. I'm happy for him, even though he went to the University of Iowa. Luca, I got respect for you, but
priority guy.
Fuck the Hawks.
Yeah, fuck the Hawks. I mean, I don't know anything about that. It does seem like Minnesota values him too, because they signed him to a 2-year deal. So it's like, they know they got something. Yeah. But speaking of opportunity, it's like you talk about Chris Boucher last night. He's a guy that's been around for how many years? Right? And now he's like finally getting a shot to get meaningful minutes.
Well, I don't know if I'd go as far as to say that. He's been playing for a little while, but I was talking with him last night. I said, damn, motherfucker, it's actually crazy. You're like one of the last dudes, or you are the last dude on this team that won a championship. Who would have thought that he would be the last one on the Raptors to win a championship? No Fred, no Pascal, no OG. Chris Boucher was the last one. Right? Yeah. It's crazy how the turnover is in this league. Yeah. And, you get into that, and then you almost start to think, is it time for 2 expansion teams? Because, jobs are limited. There are young guys coming and joining the NBA, and there's not as many roster spots.
And I think I saw something that it was 125 international players on rosters in the NBA, on final rosters.
Yeah.
Which is a record tying.
You just think about it, international grassroots basketball is doing it better than the American basketball way. And it's sad to say, because I grew up an American grassroots kid, but the days of getting participation trophies and being able to, jump from team to team because you're not getting what you want is unrealistic. Because in the NBA, sure, you may not get what you want for the first 2 years. Well, suck it up and prove your worth and dive into something that's bigger than yourself. Whereas overseas, they're cutthroat, man. Like, if you don't get the job done, like, hey, you're not working here, we're letting you go, and oh, by the way, we might not pay you.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Too bad. Life's hard. Get a helmet.
Yeah.
And, it's no surprise that, Europeans have adjusted to that and playing the game at a smarter rate or smarter pace or way of playing. And I think the thing is European players have adapted to the style of play a lot better than these American grassroots kids, because when shit gets tough when you're an American grassroots player, it's like, oh, I'm playing for this team. Oh, no, I'm going to go play for this team because that doesn't really fit my game. Like, how many people are you going to have to go through for it to fit your game? When are you going to fit to someone else?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of and here's where I can speak on this, because I was a varsity basketball coach for a long time, okay?
Yeah.
And I will say there is a serious disconnect, even at that level, with what everybody outside of the high school team, because really at the end of the day, your high school, AAU is starting to take a little more precedent, but still like college coaches are coming to watch high school basketball games. They're recruiting you at AAU tournaments as well. A lot of people pick up offers there, but they're coming to see how you perform in your high school basketball gym, right? And there's a huge disconnect between what is good for the players, or in their mind good for the players, and what everybody outside of the gym is telling them, and what's good for the team in that gym. And so like I dealt with that a lot, where it was like people that aren't even like high level players. We're talking like maybe low level Division I, mostly Division III players, have this inflated sense of self and this inability to impact a team, like an ability to impact, to be I don't want to say a role player, but like play a role. And I think that's what's really setting a lot of these kids up for failure. They go to school for 1 year and they're back home.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it didn't work out. And then it's like, now you're not playing sports anymore.
Yeah, this is the segment of the show where Kevin turns into Jay Billis and gives us a whole breakdown and analysis of grassroots basketball.
Listen, I can speak about youth basketball better than you can.
That was fucking stupid.
Okay, anyway, George, but if you guys didn't know this, George plays in the NBA. So no one can ever talk about basketball around George Niang because he plays in the NBA.
No, I mean, I didn't think it was a smart take. But we'll talk about it off air.
Okay, speaking of takes.
What you got?
I would like your take on something that I thought was really, really awesome, which was, I believe it was the second quarter of the Lakers.
Ooh.
And
Bronny.
I forgot who they played. Did they play the Wolves?
Yep.
Yeah,
D-Wolves.
Lakers, Wolves. They check in at the same exact time. I thought it was fucking cool. Give us your take on that. Did you watch it?
That was a lot of people are going to have a lot of different comments about this, but we're witnessing fucking history in greatness. LeBron James, who was in the league, I think at 18, 19 years old, has been in the league for 22 years. 22 fucking years.
Crazy.
And had a son, has been through all the ups and downs, Cleveland, Miami, back to Cleveland, to then to LA, to then, have his son drafted by the Lakers and then be on the same court. Like, I'm not sure we'll ever see this again. And yes, people are going to say, oh, it's bullshit, he shouldn't be in the league, or he shouldn't be playing. Whatever.
Yeah.
First game of the year, they won, and they got to have that experience. So it doesn't matter. It happened. They won. Nothing. It came at no cost, and it was pretty impressive. And credit to LeBron for being able to stay in the league and being that influential and growing the game, so that us, like guys that when I was in 7th, 8th grade watching him get drafted, could dream to be a part of this league, and he's grown it so much that we all can get paid a lot of money. And now to create historical moments like this that are going to go on forever and probably never be broken. Let's all pay our respect and homage to this guy. Don't hate. I think we should all appreciate the things that he's done, the time and effort that he's put in to grow this game, because it wouldn't be where it is today without him. Yeah,
it's like even if, and by the way, I'm not convinced that Bronny isn't an NBA player. I'm not. He was a 5-star recruit, a McDonald's All-American.
Are you acting like Jay Billis again?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
First off, your take was dumb. It's fucking stupid. Don't talk about fathers and sons, because you're not a father or a son. Or I guess you're a son, but you're not a father, so you can't talk about it. I am, so I can. I'm the pro. Okay, here's my take on it. My take is that even if Bronny isn't an NBA player, right? Like, let's just operate in the world that he's not, okay? Which I think he probably is, but let's say he's not. If for everything that LeBron James has done for the game of basketball, and that goes for fans, players, people who talk about the game for a living, coaches, all these people who are making so much more money because of LeBron James, if all he gets in return is a spot on a fucking team for his son, boo fucking who. Everybody in the league, I feel like every max player has someone on the team that's like,
yeah, that's my guy. Hey,
that's my guy. Or they have like a trainer or someone on the coaching staff that's like his one-on-one guy. So it's like, shut the fuck up. Everybody crushes LeBron for everything. I thought it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And also, not only props to LeBron, but props to Bronny for getting fucking hate from everywhere for no reason, and he just like he's head down, goes to work, plays hard. You never hear something sideways out of him. So props to Bronny and props to LeBron for raising this kid right.
Shit, and props to JJ Redick, because I'm sure he's probably taken a shit ton of heat. And listen, everybody knows in the grand scheme of things in business, you're paid to do your job. Mm-hmm. JJ Redick's doing his job with the roster that he's given and, doing what he has to do to win games.
Did you see anything like X's and O's wise that you liked out of JJ Redick's? Like, did you see some stuff that you weren't really seeing out of the Lakers last year?
You know what is actually funny is I didn't get to watch most of it because in Canada they have like a contract with like TSN and that's like the sports channel. That's like their ESPN. And rather than being able to watch the Laker game, I watched the Columbus flipping Blue Jackets take down the Toronto Maple Leafs, which now I know was like the first time that they beat them that bad or something like that in a number of years. And
was it a good game?
Yeah,
you're a hockey guy.
It was 4-0. It was 4-0. And as being not a native, but as a Ohio resident, I got to root for my Columbus Blue Jackets. And rest in peace, Johnny Gaudreau, number 13 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So that was awesome to see that I, just as out of nowhere, I got to see the Columbus Blue Jackets win. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I know you're a hockey guy. One of the things we should do, maybe over All-Star break, is have a few pops at a hockey game. What do you say? Me and you, pal.
Yeah, me and you there. An old-fashioned barn burner.
Old-fashioned barn burner. Okay, I want to ask you a little bit about returns. We're returning here to season 2 at the Black Valve Coliseum. There's a few players that returned last night also. Both Ball brothers coming back from injury. One coming back from 2.5 years of fucking injury, which is just crazy. As someone who's going through an ACL injury, I understand what he went through fully because I'm going through it right now. And then Ja Morant also coming back from injury. And, he had his suspension earlier in the year. So that was – why are you laughing?
You said injury, dude. Stop trying to –
What? Ja Morant did hurt himself.
He was injured. Yes, he was.
But I'm talking about he had a suspension before.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
So anyway, what do you like, maybe one-on-one, or for each of them, what do you think like the ceiling for each of these players are? Because all of them were really, really highly touted. And for different reasons, the last couple seasons have like not really lived up to what people kind of maybe thought they would at the beginning, but all are very talented and have a high ceiling. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you look at what Charlotte did last night. LaMelo Ball he's got something to prove. And he's definitely showing that. I mean, Charlotte going into Houston and getting that win was extremely impressive. With that being said, Lonzo, I think it's obviously going to take some time. Like, he was away from the game for 1,100 days. That's like 3 years. I remember we played them in preseason and he was guarding me. I said, damn, you going to waste all that fucking defense on me? He was like, wheels ain't moving like they used to. I said, I'll take that as a compliment.
So that's why he's on you?
Yeah, exactly. Be on the spot up shooter.
Yeah.
I was like, I cut now. I cut to the rim, so be careful. Who else were we asking about?
The Ball brothers and then Ja Morant.
Yeah, I think Ja Morant, out of circumstance, Memphis had a tough break last year. I mean, I think their starting 5 is unreal. They have a good, strong core, and you add Zach Edey to that, who's a rookie, but obviously big guy in the middle. And I think the question mark is obviously going to be how their bench or who they go with. But they have a lot of talented guys over there, and they have a great system. And with that being said, Ja Morant he's a top, I would say he's a top point guard in the NBA, especially when he's healthy and available.
Yeah, there's no reason why you couldn't make the argument that he's a top 1, 2, 3 point guard in the league.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you got SGA also right now.
Oh, and Steph Curry.
Sure, yeah. So
and Luca Doncic.
Well, I don't know if everyone considers Luca a point guard, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Kyrie Irving.
But
stop just saying.
Hold on, you don't think that Ja Morant could be better than Kyrie Irving when he's like at his best, healthiest?
You just essentially said that he's just like top three.
I'm
like
saying
without
you
like
could make the argument that he could be a top 3-point guard when he's at his best. Yes. And you don't agree. Okay. In any event, the ceiling on Ja Morant is very high. And also 2 years ago, they were like, it seemed like they were the.
I just need to see a little. I just need to see a little more, and that's no disrespect. Ja, I don't want no smoke.
Yeah, you don't want smoke at all, dude.
No
Please
smoke,
don't come
dude.
for us. Okay, so it'll be fun to see those back, and it is a good story. Like, dude, when you're away from the game for that long, just have the will and the wherewithal to come back from that.
Yeah, mad respect for Lonzo Ball, man. Especially what he's been through in his life, the scrutiny, all that. To come back and still find joy in this, that's elite. That's impressive.
Speaking of injuries, a little story I want to get your take on because he's your boy. Joel Embiid refuses, or apparently says he's not going to play back-to-backs.
That's fun. I'm not playing back-to-back. Joe, you know I love you, my guy, man. Your body's been through a lot. You played a lot of minutes over your career and carried a lot of teams. I don't know what the investigation is going to be about. Like, just because he said it, or I don't know. I'd have to get a better explanation. But at the end of the day, those big guys. He's played over 500 games in the NBA, and he's not like he's not 190. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of pounding and that goes on with the joints in a big man's body. Pause. So anyways, let's go.
I agree. I think what the investigation is apparently, from what I read, it's pretty. Again, I'm uninformed, but it's pretty regular. It's like
we could have not made this tabloid news and done the investigation behind closed doors and private conversations. But hey, it's the world we live in now.
It is the world we live in now. I only ask you about Joel Embiid because I just want to hear your impression. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. I don't know him that well.
Don't care.
So good. Okay. Let's for a second change gears. Talk a little bit about a game that happened last week now. The WNBA wrapped up its season on a Game 5 barn burner. Did you watch the New York Liberty win their first championship?
I watched that. That was
say how you feel.
That was an impressive game. I take nothing away from the New York Liberty. I know, you have some thoughts on it. You being a New York guy, Kevin thinks that the New York Liberty were involved with the referee. No, I'm kidding.
No, of course I don't think.
No, obviously I think there was obviously some.
It's a missed call.
Yeah, some missed calls, and that happens in the game of basketball.
I think there's two ways to look at it. I think it's.
But a lot of people were fucking watching the WNBA this year, so they deserve a shit ton of credit. That you guys. I don't even want to say. Yeah, obviously you raised your level, but you have the attention and you're keeping the fans' attention. And I think this is just a point where it's like a stop on the way to get to the top, where this is only going to keep growing and getting better. And there's a lot of talent out there, and it was good basketball.
It was a great series.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Like Game 1, the Lynx come back from like 17-point deficit in the fourth quarter.
Shout out my girl Bridget Carlton. She's an Iowa State alum.
Yeah, you guys are BFFs, friends.
No, she's just an alum. She's
okay. Game 2 was really good. Sabrina hit that huge 3 to seal it. I didn't watch Game 3 or 4 to be honest, but I know they were both good games. And then Game 5, there's two ways to look at it. If you're the Lynx, you're like,
you're Nesca.
You're like, you somehow were in a game with a team whose best players shot a combined like 5 for 40 or whatever the fuck it was. It was not a good game for Ionescu or Stewie either. It was like Stewie, I think, was 4 for 15, and Ionescu was 1 for 19. It was like ugly. And so you're like, you shouldn't be in the game. You should have. But then on the same token, that was not a foul at the end. It's hard to say that was a foul.
Kev, you're being controversial here.
It reminded me of the foul on you last night, actually, where you were just straight up and they called it on you on someone driving.
No, it was on someone else. This is where you have to do your research.
I think they called it on you.
They called it on Sam.
Okay. Anyway, shouts to the WNBA. You're right. And everybody, by the way, we talked about Caitlyn Clark in season 1. Obviously, we've taken a couple week break. And I think we both came from the school of thought of like, she's a really good player and she's going to have an impact. And there was this like interview that pissed me off that that Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi had, where they're like, she's going to find out real quick that we're grown. And then Caitlyn Clark just set the league on fire. First team all NBA, WNBA.
She's talented. I mean, that's a good. DT is a competitor. I understand where she's coming from in that, but Caitlyn Clark is like, I'm a competitor too. I respect that. Game respects game. I love someone that can go out there and just make shit happen. Don't care what anybody says about him, and sometimes even get spicy and let you hear about it. I think
she does get.
I think that's the beauty of the game. Like, shit talking is an art, right? And if you can shit talk and then back it up, like that's like having both skills. A lot of people just kill you with silence. Like, has anybody ever seen like old school Derrick Rose, like just give you 40 and not say 2 words? I was a part of that Utah team that he put 50 on us when he was in Minnesota. He said literally 3 words. And I think one of them was like, hey, when he got fouled.
It was really cool watching him. Shout to the Club 520 podcast. It was really cool watching him on that podcast, just kind of like speak about his career. He's obviously since retired since the last time we've done an episode. So being in Chicago at that time and being from the burbs out there, like he was really the savior, was going to be the savior. Youngest MVP of all time. Also battled through injuries. Also seems just like a good dude. Was a vet for a lot of people. So congrats to him on a great career.
Yeah, D Rose, man.
Okay. I would like to give you, the NBA just signed a new TV deal that's going to take into effect in a couple of years. And these contracts are only going to get bigger and bigger. But I want to get your take on a few contracts. You don't have to get in people's pockets, so to speak, but just give me your take on some of these contracts.
Here's what I'm gonna do. We're not gonna have you list off the contracts. I'm just gonna tell a funny story so that you can like understand where my head is on this, right?
Okay.
Because I think I know what you're doing. So when I was in Utah, I was talking to Derek Favors. It was during like free agency, and he was like, "Yeah, young fella, you just gotta grind through it until you see that ticker at the bottom." And those guys, when the ticker at the bottom where you're like, such and such has signed for, what the fuck did that motherfucker just sign for? He was like, young fella, those type of guys, those are the type of guys we need to be.
Is there somebody in particular in the past, maybe you're friends with, where you were like, what the fuck did they sign for?
There's
one that like everybody talks about. And he's like in media now, podcasting and stuff.
Who's that? Is that Chandler Parsons?
Yeah. When that came through, 90 million was crazy.
Shout out Chandler Parsons.
But bro, he did his thing. He was a hooper. It's not that he didn't deserve it. It was just right after a TV deal.
And he was injured. Yeah. A lot of people got paid. Yeah.
There was.
I don't knock anybody for getting paid, because at the end of the day, it's what you're worth and where you are. Because think about it. If what do you think water's selling for in a desert where there's no water? Yeah, it's expensive. Water that's at a Poland Spring, factory, it ain't selling for that much.
Selling. So, yeah, I agree. I don't mean to imply these people don't deserve it.
Here's what he was about to do. If he lists off these names and what you guys made, just know Kevin was being disrespectful.
I'm not.
And I got all y'all, my NBA brothers.
I'm not being disrespectful. I wanted to get your take, like, damn, like I wanted you to like, almost big them up for some of these. Do you not want to go through any of them? How about I give you one? Corey Kispert, 4 years, $54 million. Damn! In the Wizards. Our boy Franz, which I love. By the way,
he already signed that.
Yeah, this was a while ago. This is all the offseason acquisitions.
Okay. Or the extensions that just
extensions,
happened.
Yeah, for 2021.
They got Aaron Gordon, Alpering.
Okay, I want to get. This is where I want to get your take. Aaron Gordon signed a big one. What was Aaron Gordon?
4 for something. 100.
I have it here somewhere.
Rudy got 3 for 1 something.
Jalen Johnson, 3 years, 150.
4, no. 5 years, 150.
Jalen Johnson, a 3-year extension, 150. Franz Wagner, 5 years, $224 million. By the way,
dude, you're wrong. It can't be 3 years, 150. So he's going to make the same as Donovan Mitchell.
Okay, maybe it's 5 years, 150. I have it wrong.
This is what happens.
150 million. Look, this is NBA.com. It says 3 years, 150. So that's not on me. That's on NBA.
Where does it say? Wow, that's
so
crazy.
I think that might be right.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it did seem a little high to me. Scotty Barnes, who you just played, 5 years, $224 million.
Let's go. A lot of pressure comes with the paycheck, and I think that's one thing. Not to say that I'm on that same level, but when teams pay you, like, they're expecting results. So it's not like, oh, I made it. No, it's like how hard it took you to get to making that salary. It's going to take you 10 times to keep it and continue to grow. But as long as you're like process based and don't look at getting paid as like a victory and more or less like, I earned this, now where do I want to take it next? I achieved this goal, getting this part of the mountain, now what am I looking at next? Because you can get paid and be out of a job tomorrow, but still collecting your paycheck. So
I know we've talked about this a few times, but I loved hearing like Tyrese talk about him getting his contract and how like and
it's all about winning.
Yeah, just because your contract wasn't necessarily as big as these other ones, it doesn't matter. You still got a big contract, and it's like you had to step up for anybody, and you have to step up now. It's like and continue to like prove the value of that contract. And I think it's it totally, even Duncan was talking about it, just your mindset switches where you're like, you're no longer grinding to get it. Now you're like grinding to prove it almost.
Yeah.
And that can be like, that mindset switch can be difficult to deal with, I can imagine.
For sure. Sometimes it's not easy. It'll eat away at you and you want to live up to the expectation, but all you can do is be your best, man. We're just souls out here trying to live our truest, best life. And a lot of people get caught up in trying to be something they're not. Like, oh, they paid me, so I need to be this. No, just be you and work at it every single day. And guess what? It will all take care of itself.
Okay, I want to do a little bit of like a couple top fives.
Top five.
Can you give me now? I didn't give you this, so this is really just off the top
cusp,
of your head, off the cusp. Can you give me 5 players? It doesn't necessarily have to be in order, but 5 players that you think are going to have a breakout season that people aren't talking about enough. So obviously, like we all know this, like the top players are going to have breakout years. Who's going to have like something that it's going to surprise us a little bit?
I think Paolo Banchero is going to have a breakout year.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah.
I mean, Orlando is like another young, scrappy team in the East. The East is going to be tough.
No, for sure. I think Bradley Beal.
So do you believe in this Phoenix experiment? Do you think it can happen?
I'm not like saying that I believe, but I also know that they have a couple point guards in there to get those guys the rock to be able to operate. And I think Bud's a really good coach and he does a lot of good things.
I think Tyus is going to be a good fit there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially when you got him on a minimum, I think that's pretty impressive. Who else is there? It's tough to say like who's unexpected because there's a lot of people that
What about someone like on your team that maybe the media is not talking about enough that you think?
Obviously I didn't know I was allowed to, but I think Evan Mobley for sure, and I think he's shown that in preseason and kind of moving forward.
He just seems when
he's very intentional with where he's getting on the floor and the shots that he's taking, and he's so skilled. And I think it's a totally different thing than what he was for the first 3 years of his career, because I think he knows where he wants to get, and he's so skilled to have those finishes. Like I've just been impressed with his work ethic, and there's a look in his eyes now that he has signed that deal. Like it's on now. So I don't want to overhype it, but I'm excited to see what he's capable of doing.
Again, as an outsider, just watching the game, I didn't watch any of your preseason games, so this is the first I've seen you guys play. Very impressed by you guys. watching Evan Mobley, it looked like I was watching, like, when Aaron Rodgers comes up to a football line of scrimmage back in his best days, and he's just like calm and just totally understands what's happening.
Like today, like this year?
Maybe not so much this year, but or like Tom Brady, he just like, they have complete control over what's going on. Nothing's confusing them. Like, feet are calm. That's what it looks like watching Evan Mobley. Not saying that he was like everywhere the last couple of years, but he just seems so much more.
He's dialed in and
calm.
He's dialed in, man. He's ready to make a serious impact. I'll throw Darius Garland in there also. I think the way he impacts winning.
He put the weight back on. You can tell.
You'll definitely see a growth in his game.
Okay, one more player out of the West. Is there anyone in the West you think could?
I'm gonna go with Zion. I think he looks like he's in really good elite shape, and I think he's gonna be healthy.
Okay.
Mainly because I think in his contract you have to get healthy to get that money.
Is he contract year?
No. I think it's like in his contract that he has to play a certain amount of games, and he looks like he's in really good shape.
It would be good to see Zion and also that New Orleans team, which just felt really scrappy last year and like a fun team to watch. CJ McCollum kind of has a resurgence down there. I'm rooting for them. And by the way, Ingram went off for what, like 30 something?
Yeah.
Ingram had a big game.
Y'all don't want me?
Okay, can you give I want to see if you can name, this is going to be ranked, the top 5 seeds at the end of the season in the West.
Come on, it's too early for that.
But if you just had
next episode, we'll get to that.
How about you take mine then?
Okay, go. You hit me.
Okay.
Pause.
Oh, big pause. Whoa, he was talking about big bodies earlier. Okay, in the East, I don't think anyone's touching Boston right now. I think Boston looks like the most complete team, and KP or Porzingis.
All right, go. You suck them off. Jesus Christ, go.
Then I got the Knicks at 2. I think Knicks are going to put it together. I actually think you guys are going to be at the 3. I thought you guys looked really good last night. Obviously, we're basing this off of one game. Who fucking knows? But I think you guys are going to be a sleeper team in the East. Are going to be really difficult. I don't believe in Philly. I think the Magic are going to be 4.
Okay.
And then
that's crazy. I don't believe in Philly.
I think Philly will probably be 5th seed.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think Philly's
so
going to be top.
You don't think Milwaukee's?
I think Antetokounmpo's really gonna miss his brother, and I think something's gonna happen weird there, and I think he's just gonna be out for like half the season. No, I don't think Milwaukee's gonna be up there. Maybe Milwaukee at 5 and Philly at 6, but still, I don't think Milwaukee. What did they do last year?
Huh?
What did they do last year?
They had injuries.
So what's going to change? Okay, anyway.
Bro, this guy is a New York Knicks lover, but go ahead. Anyway, go West Coast.
Out of the West, OKC.
Yeah.
It's hard not to say Dallas.
You hitching onto that Clipper ship?
I don't think so, man.
Is the sun rising in the West?
I don't think the Clippers... maybe
is the sun rising in the West?
Maybe the Suns. So
are you howling with the Wolves?
I think Suns at 4, Wolves at 3, 5. Who do we have left? Basically the Clippers,
Nuggets,
LA Nuggets. Probably the Nuggets at. I'm gonna go Suns at 5, Nuggets at 4, 6 Clippers or 6 LA Lakers. What do you think? That's crazy. I think my West list is better than my East because I did forget about Milwaukee.
Okay, well, halfway through the year, we'll bring up the list.
So when are you committing to do the list? In 10 games?
I'm not doing the list. This is about you. You asked me questions. You asked me questions the whole time, and then I asked you questions just so people can see how much of an idiot you are when it comes to basketball takes. I love you.
George doesn't.
You're one of my best friends. We drank coffee at Cafe Lamad in Northern Liberties in Philly.
We are BFFs at this point. And we only had drinks together once because you've been off the sauce.
Yeah, that doesn't need to be talked about because kids don't drink alcohol. Seriously.
Speaking of being off, I'm on a 24-hour water fast. I haven't even told you this
That's
yet.
That's awesome.
So I haven't eaten in 24
hey,
hours right now.
Look into the camera.
6:45 yesterday. It is now 7 o'clock. I've gone 24 hours and 15 minutes without anything to eat. Only black coffee and regular water.
We're going to hold the fall through it because we're here. And with that being said, thank you guys for joining us for
Season
the
2,
first
we're here.
episode of season 2. We're excited to be back in the Black Valve Coliseum. I'm George Niang. This is my co-host Kevin Spees. This is the Bench Seat Podcast, and we're out.